Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. My name is Marci Melzer, and I am an intuitive speech and language pathologist and language facilitation consultant. And I'm here today to talk to you about your problems and how to use your problems to teach your child how to use the unprompted spoken language you're looking for. So if this is the first time you're joining me, welcome. And if you are joining me again, welcome back. This is the perfect time for you to hit the like button and share this video, even with your friends. If you have anybody in your life who has a late talking child, this video could really make a big difference for them because most families with kids who are late talking have problems of one kind or another. And there are lots of ways that you can use those problems to teach your child how to use speech. Because there's one thing that kids will always, always, always try really hard to talk about, and it's their problems. And it's also really important for you to use your problems to help your child understand spoken language because just like your child, you also it's really important for your child to understand you have problems so that they can help you solve your problems just like you can help them solve theirs. So, what I'm going to do in this video is I have some strategies, of course, I want to share with you as you move through your day with your late talker and you encounter problems, how to move through those problems and come out with both a solution to the problem and hopefully some language facilitation. The goal for all language facilitation is for you to get 2 to 3 hours per day of active listening where your child is listening to you use speech appropriately, the right words, the right way, at the right time. And when you're able to manage putting all that together, then your child will use their unprompted speech. Now, it's not always super easy to find 2 to 3 hours of time to sit down and have conversation with your child. However, your child will always come to you with their problems. And this is why it's a wonderful strategy for you to learn because every time your child comes to you with a problem or you have a problem, then you could pull out these strategies to get in more of your language facilitation time. So hopefully these strategies will help you. Let's dig in and get to them. Now, the first strategy that I have always about problems is that you have to talk about the problem. Say it out loud. Make sure everybody involved understands the problem exactly as it is. They want to know whose problem it is. This is what is important for you to talk about. Whose problem it is, why they're having that problem, and what happened to cause this problem. So you want to state it out loud just as it is right away. The first thing, wow, you have a problem, or maybe you yourself have a problem. Let's use two examples, one of a child's problem and one of adult's problem. First problem, child's problem. Typical problem, they want something and they can't have it right now or ever. The answer to them in their head is I can't have what I want right now. Typical problem for every child, whether they're late talking or not, right? So, in this circumstance, your child has a problem, and so do you, because you don't want your child to be upset. That's your problem. And your child's problem is they want something they can't have. So, we'll use the perpetual cookie that I always use, the cookie that the kid wants. They're going to say, I want a cookie. You now have a problem. Before you even say no, you have a problem because you know you don't want to give your child that cookie. It's not time. It's not appropriate. They've already had 5 cookies for whatever reason. You intend to say no. Your child is pushing the envelope. This is a problem. Their problem is they want a cookie. Your problem is you don't want to give it. Okay? Two different problems. And it's really important you talk about everybody's problem, but First, you have to talk about your child's problem because their head, they don't care whether you want to give them a cookie or not. They just care about whether it's going to happen. And they are looking for the yes answer or the cookie to arrive, not the no, maybe later, we'll have it some other time. Okay. This is the problem. So you say it out loud. I know you want to have a cookie right now. And I know that it is not time for a cookie. This is our problem. It's a problem you have mutually because neither of you wants your child to be upset and you don't want your child to have a cookie. So that solution's out the window. We have to find another way to work through this problem. And your problem is you want your child to be happy. So the first thing you do is you move into making them happy, right? Discuss the feelings about this problem. So after you talk about the problem and say what it is, I know you want a cookie right now. And it's not time for a cookie right now. That's the problem. We haven't talked about solution at all yet, just what the problem is. And now it's important that you talk about what the problem is, even though it seems very obvious. The child standing there holding the cookies going, or cookie, 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 or I want cookie, please now, whatever they're using to make that request, the answer is no. And that's the problem. It's not that they haven't said it correctly. It's not that they haven't done their best to ask you. The problem is they can't have it. Excuse me. And excuse me. Oh, I just choked myself. Sorry about that. And so, what you need to know, what your child needs to know, is that you understand that they want the cookie. As long as they know, they have a problem. Yes, they want a cookie and they want it right now. Okay, that's their problem. You also are telling them your problem at the same time, which is it's not time to have a cookie. So you're putting all of that problem stating together so that your child understands not just that you're going to say no, but that you understand how they feel right now. Wow, you really want a cookie. You are so hungry. You love the taste of those cookies. For whatever reason your child wants it, you have to talk about that because they don't want you to ignore their request and just say no and move on. They're going to perpetuate. They're going to let you know they have a real problem. They really want that cookie right now, and you really don't want to give it to them. You both have a real problem. And if everybody's going to win, you've got to move through the process together. And that first step is to talk about how you feel. I know you really want a cookie now because I said the word because I'm explaining to the child that I understand what they're talking about. You're angry. You're hungry. You want it now. You're bored. You're whatever they want the cookie for. Okay. The perpetual cookie, whatever it could be, iPad time, could be whatever. Okay. Doesn't matter what it is. It matters that now you understand that we have a problem and that they're sad. Wow. And yeah, I can see you will be sad if you don't get a cookie. It's really sad when we don't get what we want. And you talk same time you discuss it with your child and you talk about their feelings. You feel sad because you can't have a cookie, but I feel sad when you don't eat your dinner. That's a situation. Now, your child may not care about your problems at this point. If they're older, they can. But if they're younger, they don't care about your problems. They just care that you care about their feelings. Wow, you're really sad. That made you really upset. And if you don't want your child to feel upset, then you got to find another way to make them feel happy besides giving them a cookie. Give them hugs, give them kisses, tell a joke, whatever. You talk about the feelings. You've already talked about the fact that they can't have them. The reality, and that's number 3. You're talking about their feelings. You're really sad about it. And then number 3, the reality is, I know it is a bummer to feel sad. And that's my favorite word is bummer because life is full of bummers when we can't get the things that we want and problems happen in our lives. These are the bummers. You stub your toe, you get in a car accident, you spill your coffee. Accidents and problems happen in everyone's life, and they cause us to feel a certain way, okay? But then once we feel a certain way, wow, I'm sad spilled my coffee or I can't have my cookie, then someone's made me feel a little bit better with a hug, with an empathy, right? You have to give your child some empathy. And I'm here for you because you can't solve the problem in the way they want it, but at least you're here for you because you can't solve the problem in the way they want it, but at least you can offer them support. And this support is very, very powerful and very important for your child because you're the only one they get it from. Everyone else may make them try to do things or push through or power through their struggles. No, can't have it, leave it, blah, blah, blah. But you're not that person. You're the one helping them work through these problems, not just leaving them on their own to stew about it. And the more you help them regulate themselves back down, okay, I know you're sad. Come on, let's get hugs. Then you talk about the reality. And either way, you accept it for what it is because the problem already happened. It's already existing and it's not going away. It's still raining. The coffee still spilled, whatever, right? If we can move forward from this, first we have to understand what this is. Wow, there's a mess. Or, yeah, I know you're still hungry or you're still bored or whatever because your child was trying to solve some problem by asking you for that cookie, whatever they were asking you for. And if you don't give them that, that was their solution to solve their problem. But you're not helping them solve that problem. So you got to talk again about how is another solution even going to work by talking about the reality of the situation. Radical acceptance of reality. It's not time for dinner. The coffee's all gone. It's spilled. There's a mess. There's a situation, a new situation, because now we have this problem. Now, is it a problem that you can't solve at all? The big problem was, and you took a remedy, you did something, you tried something, but it hasn't got the whole solution yet. You might not feel completely better. Remember, the reality of the situation is what it is. And you can't sugarcoat it or make it go away or distract your child away from it. You have to talk about it as it is. You had 5 cookies today and I forgot to tell you that we only have a 2 cookie limit. Or because if your child crossed a boundary, maybe the boundary wasn't clearly laid. I didn't really explain the situation. Now that you're in a new situation, after the problem you're looking at the mess or the situation, you talk about this is what it is right now. And we have a choice. Are we triggered by this to go down a path where we're just going to keep complaining? You are their support person through their feelings. You are their support person through solving the problem. So if your child still has a need, which they do, if they were just bored and they wanted snuggles from you, then making them feel better will solve that problem. But if they had a real need, they want to go out, they want to eat, they want to do something, and you don't want to give them that thing, you have to find another way for them to regulate and solve that problem on their own. Be satisfied with you present another solution. You have to talk about why you are in this situation. If you made a mistake, if they made a mistake, and then whatever was missing, now you know what is missing, so that in the future you will not make this mistake, or hopefully your child how to solve this problem, then solve it together. Okay, you don't want cookies not appropriate, it's not cookie time. Food is not an option right now. There is no need for food. We can fill this need another way with entertainment or healthier food. Only time there's a problem here. And the problem happens when your child asks for something that they can't have because they don't understand right now. Solve them together with your child, and then the next time you'll know how. And that's how it goes. That's really just as easy as it is to move through your problems. So let's say you have a problem. Your child is running around, stimming, or just yelling and screaming, that you need your child to change their behavior because you have a problem. This is another real situation. So that's the Mandeep, say your name, Ashnur. I don't know what that means. So, Mani, thanks for joining me. By the way, this is a live Q&A. So, I'm live today on YouTube. If you have a question for me, this is the time to post it in the comments. So, it's very nice to see you, all of you who do that for you. That's your problem. I really need my child to calm down because I need to take a nap or they're whatever. Something that you have a problem because your child's just doing their thing, whatever they're doing, but you have a problem with it. That's when you need to go through this process again. You have to approach your child and you have to tell them what your problem is first before you tell them be quiet, yada yada yada. Most parents will shoot out some kind of solution, be quiet, mommy's blah blah blah, because of the reason that you need them to do it. So you can listen, read, all over the world. You can get access to this. This is the step-by-step process to help you through this problem solving. Strategies are included in the book, among lots of others, along with the very step-by-step process to get you through all the way from analyzing what's going on with your child's talking to what's keeping them late talking to where they are and help them move through the levels of spoken language. There's lots of levels all the way through lifetime, really. And this book and my independent study course, they give you the way to get through the process. And you have to go through the process over and over again. I'm doing this mime because you do it. It's a circular process. Once your child gets to the next level, they typically get stuck and you need to move them up to the next one. And they get stuck and you need to move them up to the next one. And that can happen with language facilitation. That's why it's a lifetime process. And I'm super happy that all you parents are watching, whether live or on the replay, because these strategies are designed for you, so that you can go out and give them a try and get help. And if you're finding yourself stuck after watching for a couple of months and you're not seeing more speech emerge within 3 to 6 weeks of you starting these language facilitation strategies, you should see spontaneous pop out speech emerging from your child. If you're not seeing new speech within 3 to 6 weeks, that's a problem. It means that your language facilitation isn't quite right. And you might want to invest in the book or independent study course to learn how to do the process. If you already have invested in those resources and you're still not working yet, then you want to think about working with me as a coach. And what I'll do is I'll find all the little song I don't know without analyzing your child's speech. But the truth about any articulation is it's all about empowering your child to want to improve. So, if the problem in this case is your child's not saying the S sound, it sounds different. I'm not sure if he's dropping it or saying it the wrong way, if it's only happening in blends like spoon and snake. But first of all, you have to identify the problem, which is what a speech therapist would do by analyzing your child's speech, and they would identify where and how that S sound is mispronounced. Because is it pronounced accurately at the end of the word, like in books, or in a single word without a blend, like sun, or those kinds of things. So you have to learn how, in what ways the child is mispronouncing, in what areas, what are we looking at that are deviant, that are not accurate. And so when you see the patterns that are inaccurate, then you know what facilitation you need to do. You need to get into those same patterns that your child is using the inaccurate speech and provide the models of the correct speech with lots of emphasis on those S, those things while you are talking. And you want to emphasize those sounds while you are talking with your child to let them hear, look at your face, listen to you. So you want to talk about a lot of things that begin with S. Pick your S book, your book about Sammy the Snake, and your book about, skipping and all those things. If we even work on those strategies to facilitate the talking, you have to talk about the problem. Your S sounds are not the right way. I'm not hearing, understanding your speech if You keep messing up that S sound. So we're going to start working on it. I'm going to practice focusing on my S sound so you hear it and see it from me a lot. And I want you to practice too while we're talking about our Sammy the Snake book and whatever. And then every time your child tries to fix that articulation to model and mimic the way you are producing it accurately, then you want to reinforce speech. That speech is the speech sounds, language is the words that come out, grammatical structure, and then there's semantics and the feelings behind them, all those parts of language, the functional bits of language learning. They come from kids watching people using language functionally. So, if you want to improve speech sounds, your speech models must be very slow, very deliberate, very careful because your child is learning from you. Your child is learning from you. Mandeep, my name is Marci Melzer, and I am an intuitive speech and language pathologist from Waves of Communication. So you can do that. So Lydia's, he's 4, not pronounced Waves of Communication. So you can do that. So Lydia's, he's 4, not pronouncing at the beginning of the word like smash, he'll say mass. Right. So that means that he's not hearing and understanding that the sound is at the beginning, at the end. And he needs more models where you emphasize those things because he doesn't even hear it in his own speech, probably. That's typical for kids who are leaving out sounds. It means that at one point, whatever went in, I'm not sure why your child is late talking or not. If he was late talking, maybe due to ear infections, that S sound is one of the softest sounds, also one of the most used. So if a child isn't hearing those S sounds because they have a history of ear fluid or some kind of intermittent hearing loss, or they're not paying attention very well to you talking, the softest parts of your words are going to go missed. If your child's not looking at your face when you're talking, those parts of words are going to get missed. And then your child will develop, because he's already 4, develop habits in using the mash for, so whenever he wants to say smash, typical word for a 4-year-old boy, right? He wants to say smash, but he says mash. And he, every single time with fervent energy behind it, he says mash, mash. And he doesn't have that S in there. He needs to see you smashing some stuff, saying smash, smash, so that he gets the idea that there's something supposed to be there that he's leaving out. Wait a minute. It's different when mom says it than when I say it. And the way she says it is right, because when I heard it on TV or other places I learned the word smash, they had that big noise at the beginning. So you want to slow down your speech, provide all those language models that include the sounds that are missing in your child, because if they like what you're talking about, smashing stuff, right? If you pick up a bunch of sock and sun and spoon and straw and boring stuff, then he's not going to be focused and paying attention, your 4-year-old kid, to improve his articulation. But if you want to get him better at smashing things, you could smash a lot of stuff and practice that S blend. So that's how you do. He does have fluid in his ears. He's 4. And Lydia, that's going to be challenging for him to pick up those soft sounds, S's, F's, T's, especially if they're in blends at the beginnings and ends of words. And if he has fluid in his ears now, it's going to be really important right now, even while there's fluid there, that you facilitate that facial recognition, that he's looking at your face, that he's looking at your mouth, that you look in mirrors together, and that he uses that vision, because right now, kids who have ear fluid are using their eyes more than their ears. Their ears are not working as well as their vision. Their listening is not working as well as their vision. So they're stuck on watching for everything. And their listening is actually shutting down because it's less effective, and your child's brain is interested in developing their visual learning. It's what happens to every child if they have ear fluid. If you're trying to do a lot of teaching with them, they're going to be using their eyes because their ears are not consistently functional for them. So first of all, accessing these things and, getting the fluid to a minimum and keeping it down while you can is going to be very important, but you might not have control, and that's your problem. We've got ear fluid in this ear. How are you going to take care of making sure your child still is interested in listening to you at all? Right? Don't let them lose that interest in listening and focusing on you, because right now it's harder for them to listen than it is for them to watch. So you always pair your talking with visual representation. So your child's visual attention will get brought to your face. Hold stuff by your face, look in the mirror, talk about things that your child can see you talking about and hear you talking about at the same time. That's how they will start to match those visual images into the speech. And then after your child's ears clear up completely, then you can work on articulation. But until your child can hear clearly, it's going to be hard for you to expect them to produce perfect speech because garbage in, garbage out. If it's coming in muffled, wah, 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 because their ears, there's fluid in their ears, then it's going to come out. And what's probably happening since your child is already talking and just leaving out that S sound is that he's pushed through whatever fluid he's had to listen to some things. And because he's 4 years old, he's very motivated to tell you the things he wants to tell you, like smash and please and those things, right? So, because he's so motivated to communicate, like all late talkers are, they will push through pain, they'll push through ear fluid, they'll push through attention. However, they're going to use their eyes as their safety net because their ears are not working for them. So they're going to use their eyes and they're going to want to dig in and they're going to want to find out how you are, taking care of it. So that's what's going to happen. This is how you're going to help your child solve their problems by talking about them, working through them, talking about the feelings around them, talking about it is what it is. This is radical acceptance of our problem. So Lydia says, thank you so much. This is great information. I have learned a lot from you. Yeah, Lydia, thank you for saying that. It's super great to have you all joining me. Like I always say, I love these lives because they're interactive, maybe not as organized and I don't have all my stuff, but you can talk with me and share your feelings and your results and your problems in the comments of these videos on the lives. And that's why I encourage you to join me every week. I'm here every week on Monday at noon Eastern. And then I'm over on Facebook every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I know some parents don't use both platforms, but I always put my Facebook videos here on YouTube as well. So you'll always be able to see everything here. There are more than 300 titles, 320 now, I think, titles that are up on YouTube where you can go through. There's a playlist, Get Started with Language Facilitation here. Lots of ways for you to get started with language facilitation because parents are better at this than therapists. You can get faster results. I've got a mom. It's really interesting that you were talking about Lydia. I have a mom in my program who has a little guy just like your son. He's 4 now, but he started when he was 3, and he had almost no speech that could be understood. He had tons of speech, but nobody could understand anything. And it was so frustrating for his family. They were in therapy for a long time working on saying individual sounds and driving a long way to therapy too. When that mom used these strategies that I gave you today, where you're talking about things with your kids, where you're talking about including the sounds that they're missing, emphasizing those sounds in your speech and language models, your kids will pick them up, especially if you talk about smashing stuff. And that's what this other mom, her kids loved pretend play and they pretend they're, pirates and monsters and dinosaurs and all kinds of stuff. And all of those animals, characters in their pretend play, they all talk. They all have lines. They tell each other what to do. They follow directions, all of that stuff. And this mom finds themes that have, or props even, that involve that target sound. If they're working on the R sound, she'll pull out raisins and ribbons. And if they're working on S's, she'll pull out the plastic snakes and things like that. So she just fills their environment with stimulus items for them to talk about in their everyday while they're playing, while they're getting ready. And then everybody's thinking about that S sound. So you think about it when you're getting dressed, and you think about it when you're taking a bath, and you think about S foods, and you think about S things at the store, and you just start talking about it a lot. And if you have other kids, that's what Olivia did, you can include them in the game too. So now everybody is helping this 4-year-old late talker learn how speech is supposed to sound because his ears might not have been clear all the time or whatever, but he had not just models from his parents, but from his siblings and his dad too, because they're all on the same page helping solve these problems. And when you look at all of your speech and language issues, whatever it is, lack of attention, um, over attention, your child won't leave you alone. I mean, you can have dichotomy of every one. Your child's saying too many words, saying not enough words, talking too fast, all of that. It's all up to you to learn what these problems are. And then when you take each one of these problems one by one and solve them, articulation or language or grammar, because another problem's going to pop up after you solve one. So that's what happens commonly. Kids who have ear fluid are late talking in the first place. They start to use words. Parents get excited because they start to use words. And then there's these articulation problems because their ears have fluid in them and they're not getting good language models in. And then they've got another problem to solve. Or maybe your child has an autism diagnosis and they started using words and they're stuck in needs based language and you need to move them up to conversation. It's all the same. Everybody, all the kids, they'll move through these levels and then they get stuck in their comfort zone. Works good enough for me. It's better than my last level. I don't have to scream in tantrums anymore. Now I can use single words, cookie, 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 to get my need met, right? But that's not the best speech they can do. Obviously, single words, repeated single words. You want them to use sentences. So you got to elevate their language with your speech and language models. Then when they get to needs based sentences, I want a cookie, please. And all they're saying is, I want, I need, I want, I need. How do we get conversation out of that, right? How do we turn that into conversation? Everywhere your child is stuck, that's their comfort zone. And that's a problem for you because mindset change is a real thing and it's the most important thing with language facilitation. You're only going to improve your skills if you come to a level where you understand they're not good enough and you need to try harder. And that's what we have to motivate these late talkers to do because you cannot pull language out. Just like I couldn't pull language out of you, you can't pull language out of your kid. You facilitate this language to come out naturally. And that's the most important thing. So that's how it goes. All right. So thank you again for joining me, everybody. I'm not seeing any more questions. I think I'm going to pop off for now. Be sure to check out another video. This one's short. Go ahead and look into another one and see, how you can find. Actually, right now we're at 45 minutes. I tend to ramble on. I know how it goes. My clients who are working with me, they always put me on a timer so that I don't ramble on. But it's really important to share this information with all of you, and that's why I'm here. And I love to talk to the world and I love to get the feedback from you. So just keep up the good work and I'll see you all on my next video. Bye for now.